Well, hello Disney friends. Welcome to the WDW Parkhoppers live show for Tuesday, March 16th, 2017. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited that you were here. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot of cool things happening, a lot of very interesting things happening around the world of Disney. But first, before we go any further, if you have no idea who I am, or if somebody shared this video and you'd like to know a little bit more about us, we are WDW Parkhoppers. You can find us at WDWParkhoppers.com. We love to talk and share ideas and passion for Disney, Walt Disney World, Disneyland, all the theme parks around the world. But WDW Parkhoppers focuses on the 4 parks of Walt Disney World. 4 parks, 1 world, and everything in between. So we're going to talk about all of the things that happen here at Disney. And we also talk about Marvel-related things, as well as Star Wars, and pretty much whatever else just strikes our fancy as far as the Disney community. My name is Parkhopper John, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to find us online, you can come to our website, Disney Parks Podcast. Sorry, that's the other podcast. You can find us at WDWParkhoppers.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at WDW Parkhoppers. It's been a very busy day. So Tuesday is not my normal day to record, but Tony Calcinova from Disney by the Numbers and I, we wound up spending an amazing afternoon with Disney artist Greg McCullough, and we were at our Avatar preview last night, which we're going to talk about more in just a little bit. And so we recorded the podcast today. It's been a very long day. My throat is very, very dry, so forgive me. We're going to have a great show tomorrow when the Disney Parks podcast comes out. We're also going to talk about the Disney Parks review of Avatar, the Pandora, the World of Avatar. That comes out on Friday, and we would love for you to come join us there. So let's go ahead and get into. Oh, I forgot one piece of housekeeping. The WDW Parkhoppers live show is brought to you by the Disney Bucket List. You can find it on Amazon as well as WDWParkhoppers.com. And if you get it on the website, I can sign it, I can autograph it to you or to someone you love. These are great gifts for friends who are coming down to the parks. And this is all about the Magic Kingdom. So if you're looking for some really cool things to do in the Magic Kingdom that you might not have ever heard of before, this is a great resource. If you've been to the Magic Kingdom 100 times or just one time, you're going to find at least 100 things you've probably never done before, almost guaranteed. So make sure that you check that out. I would appreciate that. You can find it on Amazon and WDWParkhoppers.com. Click the link and we'll get you a copy of the Disney Bucket List. One last piece of housekeeping. We had a contest last week for a grand prize from our friends over at the Planet Hollywood Observatory in Disney Springs, and the contest was basically share a photo of you and a little story about why you love Disney Springs, or the totally went out of my head there, the Observatory and Planet Hollywood, and Addison Welp, you won. So Addison, if you wouldn't mind messaging me your contact information so I can send that out to you, I will get that out to you as soon as I can. All right, so here we go. Disney World often has a lot of people from different places. A lot of things happen at Disney World that are magical, that are incredible, and every now and then something really weird happens. So Disney World is reporting that a woman has been using her child to steal a stroller at a local theme park. A Florida mother has been accused of using her daughter to help steal a stroller from Disney's Hollywood Studios here in Walt Disney World and selling that high-end baby stroller online. So on April 15th, a Miami woman reported that her $1,800 Bugaboo stroller, which she left outside a Hollywood Studios attraction, was stolen while she was on the ride. Disney World surveillance showed a woman who was later revealed to be someone from Spring Hill, Florida, using the stroller to walk out of the park with a child inside of it, We're assuming that it was her own child. She didn't steal it with the child. And later on, she sold it, tried to sell it online. So due to the value of the items, the Spring Hill, Florida woman now faces charges of grand theft, which is an offense punishable with jail time, probation, and other or more additional fines. This fascinates me. I don't have kids. We've got four-legged kids, furry kids. I am very weirded out by people who are pushing the stroller and just leave them willy-nilly all around the park. And I look in these strollers and there's books and bags and purses and all sorts of things just lying there. I'm shocked that this hasn't been reported more often, of people stealing not only just the strollers, but the items in the strollers. And if you're bringing a several $100 stroller to Disney, the last thing I would do is leave it out because it could be stolen. I cannot believe that this has happened. I feel so bad for these people. When you dig into the story, we can put the link up in the show notes. This lady's husband had to fly up from Miami to take care of her and her child or children. I can't remember if she had more than one kid at the park. But that's just horrible. So I hope that the lady that stole the stroller gets the full punishment. They throw the book at her, so to speak. What do you think? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think for someone stealing a stroller outside of a theme park, any theme park, but outside of an attraction. You leave it there. The Disney people take it, they park it, everything good to go. You think it's safe, then you come out and it's gone. What a horrible feeling. And when you read the story, there's so many things inside the stroller that was part of the reason why it was $1,800. There were things in it like an EpiPen. Could you imagine needing an EpiPen for your child and the EpiPen stolen because your stroller was stolen earlier? It terrifies me to think about that. So let me know what you guys think. The second story we're going to talk about is coming off the heels of the hacking incident with Orange is the New Black. Coming off the crazy hacking incident from this past weekend, Bob Iger, Disney's chairman, CEO, has revealed that there are hackers that are communicating with the company claiming that they have stolen an upcoming movie. So Walt Disney CEO Bob Iger revealed Monday hackers are claiming to have access to a Disney movie, threatening to release it unless the studio pays a ransom. Iger did not disclose the name of the film, but said Disney is refusing to pay. Studio is working with federal investigators to close this case. Disney's upcoming theatrical releases are Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, which opens up Friday. A Cars 3 is coming out later on. Not to mention the, what's the next? Thor's coming out in Thanksgiving. You've got Spider-Man coming out in July. You also have Star Wars The Last Jedi coming out at the end of the year. What if any of those movies have been pirated? That's crazy. The bad news is these movies are pirated and they're released online. What does that do to the box office? We could have a record-breaking movie that's released online and it discredits the movie a little bit. The Disney chief said that hackers demand that a huge sum be paid in Bitcoin, and they said that they would release 5 minutes of the film at first, and then in 20-minute chunks until their financial demands are met. So, unlike what happened at Netflix, someone hacked and pulled all of the current season of Orange is the New Black and released all of 10 episodes. They're threatening to release all of the movie in 5-minute, then 20-minute chunks thereout. And it's scary when you think about what could be happening with our entertainment system. We had the Sony leaks, the Sony hacks from several years ago. We found out a lot of horrible information, insider news that I don't think the public was ready to consume. And then now we're dealing with Disney movies being hacked. Marvel, Disney, Pixar, Lucasfilm. It's horrible. It just is a terrible sign of what our culture is coming to. If you have technology, it could be hacked, and someone is just stealing that magic from us. I hate that. What do you think about this? What thoughts go through your mind when you read Bob Iger's admitting to hackers claiming to have stolen a Disney movie? What does that mean? What do you think Walt would do with that? I would be fascinated to know what Walt would do in that situation. We're going to stick in the movie realm for just a second. So, if you're watching live, if you would play a quick little game with me, I would love to know, how much money do you think it would cost to shoot Avengers 3 and Avengers 4 back to back? What number do you think that would cost? How much do you think that would be for them to shoot Avengers 3 and 4 back to back? I'll give you a couple of seconds. Go ahead. I'll wait. Well, Avengers Infinity War is set to become the most expensive movie ever, according to the Atlanta Business Chronicle. With studio tentpoles becoming bigger and more extravagant, the budgets for Marvel's Avengers movies are going through the roof. Now, way back in the day, a movie costing $100 million was considered to be a big deal. Back in 2007, when Titanic's budget topped $200 million, people thought things were getting crazy out of hand. Nowadays, a $200 million movie is really nothing for a big studio movie. And it's not really unheard of for a film to top the $300 million mark. However, that might still not even be close to what filming the third and fourth Avengers installments may cost. Are you ready for this? Back in October of 2015, it was reported that Marvel in 2015 had put aside $1 billion with a B dollars for a production budget for the film titled Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. And now, some comments from Pinewood Studios appear to have collaborated that astonishing figure. Nevertheless, even with a $500 million budget apiece, that shatters the previous record of the most expensive movie ever. Anyone? Avatar. Thank you very much. Avatar in 2009 cost a reported $425 million. So to give a little bit more perspective, Marvel's first Avengers film in 2012 cost a reported $220 million, while Age of Ultron cost $250 million. $1 billion. $1 billion for Avengers 3 and 4. So, just to break even, each movie has to make $500 million. And here's the thing. I don't even think the Disney studio is concerned about the box office proceeds, because with their licensing and the toys and all of the ancillary products, they'll cross that number like that. Guardians of the Galaxy was not a cheap movie to make. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was a little bit more expensive, more effects, more CGI. But the money that they're reaping just in the toy licensing alone has paid for the movie 10 times over. Easily. And Guardians Volume 2 is really overwhelming people out in the entire world. The box office numbers are huge. It's still winning. It won last weekend, and it won the weekend before it opened, obviously. But it's still crushing it out there. And I'm going to go back and see it, I think, on Friday. A buddy of mine are going to go, and we're going to check it out. So they're going to get some more money from us. But the toys, all the ancillary products, everything that goes into that is going towards Marvel. So I'm not even sure they're concerned about the box office. So $1 billion? Why not? It's chump change to them at this point. Where do movies go from here? You're spending $1 billion on 2 movies. Now, granted, this is the culmination of all of Marvel's planning for the last decade. Avengers Infinity War 1 and whatever the second one's going to be called now, because it's not going to be Infinity War 2, whatever those 2 movies are going to be, is it. This is the final installment of what we know as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes, there are movies planned out past that, but they say that all of the Marvel Universe is going to look and feel different after Infinity War is over. And I'm kind of looking forward to it. I would love for the same characters to be around, but I know things have to change. And, comic books always change out their main people. Like Thor right now is a female Thor. It's pretty awesome. But I just really cannot believe that we're to the point where we're talking about $1 billion for 2 movies, and we're looking at the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it. Things are going to change. We'll keep having great Marvel movies. I'm sure of it. I know that Guardians is slated for a 2020 volume 3, excuse me. So, what do you think about all these crazy numbers for movies? What are your thoughts on that? I'd love to know what you guys think. And that brings us to the final piece of news that we need to talk about, the WDW Parkhoppers review of Pandora, The World of Avatar. I needed something stronger than Guinness for this one. So let's go back. 7 years ago, they announced that they were building this land based off the movie and franchise Avatar. James Cameron was going to be a part of it. We all know that James Cameron doesn't do horrible movies, with a few clunkers thrown in there. But for the most part, James Cameron's work is spot on. Great stuff. Avatar, mind-blowing. Technologically advancing movie making decades. That is not even a question. But when they made the announcement about a theme park area, a brand new land based on the movie, I was kind of skeptical because I'm not really that much of an Avatar fan, and based on one movie, I didn't think that it was a wise move. So, let's flash forward. They start doing annual pass holder previews. We started seeing some media previews that were very positive. Now, granted, bloggers and podcasters and people who are doing media previews are brought in by Disney. A little bit of curtain pulling right now. And we are told to share our thoughts and the things that we liked about whatever they brought us in for. For the most part, everybody is always trying to be super positive. Super realistic if they can be. But for the most part, everything's been across the board very positive. Then we started getting some really disturbing news about the annual pass previews, the annual pass holder previews, about the one ride that everybody was excited about. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The annual pass holder preview was a great event because we got to see an entirely brand new land in Walt Disney World. That alone is worth the price of admission. To be able to walk into a land for the first time and not know where things were blew my mind. Because we were trying to get to the Na'vi River journey, and I was, okay, where am I, and where is the entrance to this attraction? So it was great. So we crossed the bridge. We came out of the lounge next to Tiffin's, and we went through the line, and we had a great, entrance into Pandora, and it was amazing. The walkway was incredible. The detail in the area where we were walking was phenomenal, and it just looked amazing. It just was awesome. And then we started seeing some of the foliage, and the foliage was unbelievable. We couldn't tell the real foliage from the unreal foliage. It was on a massive scale incredible. It was beautiful. It was just gorgeous. And we enjoyed walking through and seeing the people's faces as they started realizing the scope and the magnitude of the floating mountains and the waterfalls and just how gorgeous it was. It was just breathtaking. Then we saw the little kiosk, and that was kind of cool. It was selling all the Na'vi ears that had a little headband across the front. It was basically Mickey ears except Na'vi ears, and they had a little headband, and you could get the T-shirt so you look like a Na'vi, and then you could get the tail, and you could get the rat tail thing for the guys, and you could have all the accoutrements and the bow and arrow and all that really cool stuff. You can get all that. I thought it was awesome. They had face painting. They had these kiosks along the way. They had some really cool stuff. And then it was time to get on the Na'vi River journey. So I was very excited by this. I feel a little bit like when I'm walking in that I'm kind of walking into a Pirates of the Caribbean / It's a Small World. And the ride did not disappoint because it was very much like getting on Pirates of the Caribbean and It's a Small World. But it was spectacular. It was a dark ride. A lot of things were glowing. A lot of things were reacting to things going on around you. There was a Na'vi speaking to you, and it was beautiful, and you could see some of the wildlife running through, and there was depth, and there was color, and it looked real, and it was amazing. And then you come around the corner, and there's the shaman, and she is speaking, and she's moving, and you know that she's not real. She's an animatronic. She's 10 feet tall. She's sitting there, and she's moving like she's human, and your mind is blown. And then you go around another corner, and the ride's done. And it was weird because I really wanted there to be more ride. The technology in that one ride alone is incredible. Just the amount of really cool things they had. Now, there were things that looked familiar, very familiar. Like if you've ridden the seas with Nemo and friends, there are some things there that look very familiar as they're floating up to the ceiling. It was reminiscent of a lot of things that I'd seen before, but it was really cool. I dug it. I thought it was great. We came off that ride in another area underneath the giant floating mountains, and that was pretty cool. And it was our time for our fast passes, and it was time to ride the Flight of Passage, Avatar Flight of Passage. And we walked in, and we saw this incredible queue area that was filled with handprints from humans and handprints of Na'vi and artwork from both races and cultures. And as we progressed forward, we went from the organic to the very mechanized, very military feel. One of the RDA facilities that they had there. We walked through, and I think we were on the other side of the queue, so we really didn't get to see the floating Na'vi as well. Sarah got to see it, but it was kind of dark. From the pictures that I saw, I expected it to be a lot brighter, so it didn't stick out to me, so I totally missed it going by, and Sarah had to call my attention to it. And then we got to the waiting area, and it felt a little bit like Soarin'. You know, when you go through the line at Soarin', then you get there, and you kind of stand there with everybody, and then they take groups of people. It felt a little Soarin'-ish. So we stood there. We were to go in room D. We were very excited. We were waiting there, and we got called in. And the first anteroom that you go into was some of the coolest technology, magic that I'd seen in a while. You go stand on your number, and the number glows. You step off the number, and you can see on the wall the number stops glowing. You step back on it, and it senses that you're there. That was kind of neat. You go through the description of how you're going to be connected to your avatar and how you're going to fly, and you go through that. You get to meet the main doctor who's in charge of everything. That was really neat. And then they did a scan of everybody to get the DNA, and we had to move around, and you could actually see a version of you that was very digital. It felt like we were watching The Matrix. So I'm moving around and doing my thing just to make sure that it wasn't, video. And it wasn't. It was live. And it was stellar. And I started getting excited. So I was worried about the ride because I'd heard stories. And I started getting excited. Oh, this is going to be great. And a buddy of mine who is my size had ridden it. So I thought, I'm a shoo-in. So then we go into the next room, and we get ready to go into the chamber where the avatar seats, the saddles are that we're going to link to the avatars. And then we go into the room, and there's the chairs, and it looks very similar to like the motorcycle arcade games. It's got the little seat like a motorcycle, and it's got a round, a semicircle that you kind of get into, and you hold the bars, and there's a screen down here that you can see yourself in, and there's some other information that flies by, and there's a wall right in front of you. So I'm sitting there, and as I'm sitting there, I could feel the back brace come up, and I feel the two braces come up on my calves. And they come up, and the cast member comes up and says, "Can you push your feet forward a little bit?" So I pushed my feet forward a little bit more. And she said, "Okay, this is not working. Can you go on your tippy toes?" So I went on my tippy toes, and I tried to push my feet more even further. And my feet are basically like scrunched up against the wall of the little box. And so there's this thing trying to push, and I'm trying to click this thing in. So I had maybe that much space. And because I couldn't contort my foot in the right way, not because I was too big around the center, which I would have thought would have been my downfall, it was the thighs that was causing the problem. So she tried a couple times. She said, "I'm sorry, sir, you're just not going to be able to ride the ride." So I get up, I walk out. There's a little waiting room. Obviously, I wasn't the first. A couple minutes later, my buddy Tony is walking out, and he's hot, understandably. And then a minute or two later, a dad walks out who was not overweight, but he was tall, walks out with his son, and his son is just in shock. Like, I can't ride this ride. Why can't I ride this ride, Dad? And come to find out, because he didn't have a legal guardian with him at the time, he was too young to ride by himself. And it was devastating. It was so hard to watch. And a couple more people came out. So come to find out, on our ride, 4 people could not ride. And of the 16 of our group that went in, 4 people could not go. Of the 16 of another group that went in, 7 could not go on the ride. Hey, David, how you doing? So here we are, a group of us unable to ride this attraction, and then everybody comes out, and they're all hyped up and everything, and then we go out, and just like every other great Disney ride, there's a gift shop, and it was great. And they had, you could adopt a little Banshee, and they had all the things that you could purchase there, and there was a group of people, and you could see it on their faces. We couldn't ride the ride. And I have been on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and that ride from cast member's mouth was built for kids, granted. And larger people, tall people, the ride is just not built for them. 7 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they built a ride that, because I couldn't contort my legs the right way, I wasn't able to ride. So we decided we were going to go check out the cantina. We checked out Pongo Pongo, had a great beverage. We went to the cantina, had a little issue with the cantina, but the food was fine. The green beer tasted great. It was green. And we walked around as the sun started setting. They were not turning on the bioluminescent as much for the preview, so we didn't get to see a lot of that. But it was still fantastic. As the sun was going down, I was looking up at these floating mountains that a year ago were just metal, and now they're floating mountains, and you really do feel like you're on another planet, and it's incredible. So here's the good side. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's a great place to hang out. The technology used in the 2 attractions are amazing. The lounge, Pongo Pongo, it's not a lounge, it's more like a kiosk. Pongo Pongo has 1 alcoholic drink, 1 non-alcoholic drink, and 2 beers. And then the Satuli Canteen features like a protein section, a vegetable type section, a sauce section, and then it has Coke products and a beer and juice and kid options as well. Not a lot of choice there, but it's really not bad. The food was really good. And it was just a great place to be because it was new. It's going to be a great place to hang out when the sun goes down. You can already tell how awesome the bioluminescent forest is going to be. So I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. The rides, the 2 rides, they're okay. The river ride, I wish were a little longer. And, you know, obviously I didn't get to ride the flight, the Banshee flight. Sarah rode it, said it was great. I've seen video. I don't know how they got it, but I've seen video of the attraction. It's incredible. So if you're coming to Walt Disney World, I highly encourage you to ride, visit, journey to Pandora. Just be forewarned. So there's a couple things that caused a little bit of a hullabaloo before it opened, and I wanted to address it. The first one is the shaman was pictured with very little dress, and some people were very concerned about it. They've fixed that issue. There is no reason to be concerned from a proprietary issue. And having said that, there is a plant that is interactive when you enter the park. That is a very questionable decision. There will be video tomorrow on Facebook.com/WDW Parkhoppers. I'm going to let the video speak for itself, but it probably should not be in a Disney park. Just my opinion. I welcome yours. So that's kind of it. That's my review of Pandora. There's a lot more that I could say. If you listen to the Disney Parks podcast review, it's very in-depth. It's very full. It gives you the entire layout of the entire evening, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm not going to just totally poo-poo the whole park area. It's great. I'm probably going to go back. I probably won't ride the rides again because I won't be able to be in line for it. But it's a great experience. You should try it. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you've tried it, if you're excited about it, if you're not excited about it. Let me know. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Other than that, my friends, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules to watch. I look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. for WDW Parkhoppers Live. Make sure that you visit us at WDWParkhoppers.com. 4 parks, 1 world, and everything in between. I hope you guys have a magical evening. I hope you guys have a magical week. And I can't wait to see you in the parks.